No, I talk with her at great length. The hows, the whys, the usual stuff, when the woman you married and to whom you swore fidelity with and loves you tells she wants to F other people. Welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go over them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today, I'm going to go over a story titled, Divorcing My Wife Because She Wanted a Three-Something, Friends Say I Should Give Her Another Chance. And guys, this story, which sadly is becoming more and more common these days, about a guy. He and his wife are 33 years old. They've been married for 3 years now, and they were dating 5 years before that. 5 years together before they got married, so you'd think he got to know who she was and all that, but no, he came to find out she had a different side to her. And like many others, he thought he had a really good thing going. And then one day, out of the blue, and I do mean out of the blue, she pretty much told him that she wants to try exploring things further, having three-somethings. In fact, more like that she needs this. And this guy, who his vows were important to him and wanted to have it just him and her, obviously has an issue with this. And long story short, like the title says, he's done. Right? Now, you're going to see it wasn't like he said it was done that second. They did talk, but eventually realized we're in different places. Well, as you can imagine, didn't go over too well. She obviously had things to say to him about his decision, and of course, everybody in their friend group, etc., etc. But guys, this is becoming more and more common. Open marriages, open relationships, bringing other people into the bedroom, that type of thing. And it's one thing if you guys were both single, like you just started dating, and both of you were into that lifestyle before, and that brought you together. But when you weren't that way, and all of a sudden somebody decides to bring that up, then in my opinion, either party, man or woman, has the right to terminate that relationship because that's not what they signed up for. Anyhow, I'm going to get more into that as I go on here. So it starts off, he says, right, some basic information before I dive into this. We've been dating for 5 years before we got married, and we were married for up to 3 years. Up until recently, I thought our life was as good as it gets. Obviously, I was wrong. How many stories start off just like this? Now, let me be clear here. I didn't just call up a divorce lawyer and file for papers the moment she expressed an interest in a three-something. No, I talked with her at great length. The hows, the whys, the usual stuff, when the woman you married and to whom you swore fidelity and love tells you she wants to F other people. No, me being part of said three-something wouldn't really count for shit. The only thing that mattered to me was that she wanted to bring a third party into our lives, and that was it. So yeah, for me a relationship is two people and no more. If one of these parties wants more, you split up nicely and everyone goes their separate ways. Of course, that's not how it works in real life, as I've come to find out. My soon-to-be ex-wife brought up the three-something idea 2 weeks ago, when we were both at home. I honestly can't remember what even started up this topic, but eventually I got the gist that she wasn't talking about three-somethings in just a casual conversation way. So I just point-blank asked her if she was interested in something like that. The long and short of it is yes, it is something important to her. Key word, important. Normally trust in a relationship is important. Loyalty is important. Someone that's good with money and reliable and all that's important. But how about opening up the bedroom to a third party? That's important. Something she wants to share with me, which I assume means she did it before. His gut is telling him something. So let's go back to the ages here. They're both 33. They got married when they're both 30. What's the number? What's the age? What's the number that scares most women? 30. Why? Because society tells them if they're not married or on their way to the altar by 30, they're big giant losers. And they all know that their, let's say, market value, if you will, as it's called, the SMV, declines at 30. It's like when you buy a car, new car, and you drive it off the lot, and all of a sudden it's depreciating in value. It's kind of the same thing. Meanwhile, the teens and 20s is the prime. Some people may not like what I'm saying here, but I'm keeping it real. So they started dating at 25. And what do girls do in their mid-20s? They start lining up the nice guy, the guy that they can settle down with. They know without a shadow of a doubt it's not going to cheat, it's not going to leave her, who's going to be the guy they can bring home to mom and dad, who's going to marry her without question, all that. And it sounds like that's what she got. And he questions, prior to this, was this something she did before? And I'm sure he also has the question, does she already have somebody in mind? And I'm willing to bet you yes. Okay, had to get that out for you newcomers about the whole age 30 and things like that. I don't really understand the appeal of a threesomething, but again, that's on me. I don't really think I'm capable of loving more than one person at a time in a romantic sense or way. And I certainly don't sleep with people who I'm not in love with. So me going through this would have been basically me forcing myself to do something I don't want. And nobody, goes both ways, men or women, should have to do something like this if they don't want to. And nobody should be made to feel like, or labeled like they're trying to control the other person because they don't want to do this. Or be labeled insecure or some BS like that, which you all know will happen. But hey, I don't want to bend my marriage just because my wife wanted a threesomething. No, the divorce part only came after a few days, once the idea of it settled in my head. The point is, my wife made it quite clear, she wanted to add someone new, or maybe they were already familiar, to our lives, and I don't want that. Okay. She wants to, the terms of their contract, because let's be honest, marriage is a business deal. The terms of their contract has been violated, breached, whatever you want to call it. So this is not what he signed up for. He has grounds to divorce it, because again, back to the made it quite clear, this is important. And if you think it's going to be just one time so she can just get out of her system and that's it for the rest of their marriage, you're out of your damn mind. Oh, no. This is just the beginning. I think she was just putting this on hold until 3 years in, everything, she's got her time in, all that. He's wrapped around her finger in love with her, and then boom. But surprise, this guy obviously ain't so wrapped around her finger. This guy has some self-respect, which is rare in these stories. So I had one last chat with her over the matter, and there was this one moment where she acted in such a way to imply that I was almost unreasonable for not wanting this. Translation, you're insecure, you're trying to control me, that type of crap. Or even, you're being abusive. I don't know, maybe it's that moment that pretty much ended any thoughts of a shared future on my part, maybe it's another, but after the final talk, I knew it was done. Listen to your gut, you know. I'm not being petty, I'm not asking for alimony, she earns more than me, otherwise comes from a well-off family, or a house, or anything of the sort. Just the usual template divorce, pretty much. She won't let go, of course. She's got a far better lawyer than me, so she's got the divorce tied up in some legal nonsense. I honestly don't understand any of it, but even my lawyer said they can't really stop the divorce, just stall it for a bit. Yeah, because it's making her look bad, that's why. And hey, she's the bigger earner here. He can use the joint money to pay for his attorney. How about that? But notice here, he doesn't want the house, he doesn't want alimony because she makes more money than him. He just wants to part ways, end of story. She ain't letting it go. And tells me, if she obviously comes from money and she makes more money than him, she, in her mind, is the superior one in the relationship. So she doesn't like being broken up with by someone she probably sees as inferior. I could be wrong, but that's my interpretation. And I kind of been doing this a while, so I think I'm getting pretty good at reading between the lines. All that shit aside, the trouble is now the group of people whom I used to consider as our friends. Now, obviously, I didn't think they'd all stay out of this, or that there'd be a few who would side with my wife, and her attempts to win me back and reconcile, but literally all of them. How? Why? What the F? Am I that unsympathetic in my striving to have a monogamous marriage? She has made it clear that this threesomething was important to her, for whatever reason that may be, and that she wanted it to happen. If not now, then in the near future. If she doubled and tripled down on this whole thing about being important to her and all that, obviously it was, and it wasn't going to stop there. And thank the Lord this guy has some integrity and some balls to say, not happening, we're done. Because I tell all the stories. Well, it brings up how wanting to open marriage or something along those lines, bringing someone else into the bedroom. Unless both of you started off the relationship that way, both into that lifestyle, and right, not judging, and she's changing the terms of your contract, guys have a right to walk. And I might add that I'm most certain she already has someone in mind, if she isn't already playing around with somebody else already, because that way then she can make it not cheating. We're living in a city that's quite far from my family, which is a few in numbers to begin with. So yeah, I'm in the process of divorce and basically without anyone around for support. And the folks I usually talk with at work, well, they're not really friends. So sure, I can bitch to them about something every now and again, but bringing them into something as private as this just feels wrong. Yeah, don't bring your coworkers into your marriage. Because something like this is like gossip central, and it'll spread like wildfire through your office. Okay, that's what women do, gossip about this shit. Keep it to yourself. But yeah, talk to your family. But it's unfortunate, all their so-called friends or his friends are all siding with her, and I'm sure they're getting her version of the story here. And it's sad, but you know what? The hell with them. If they can't be reasonable and see your side of the argument and they're all siding with her, then they're not your friends. And, you know, you just got a big favor brought your way, because now you know who's on your team and who's not. End of story. I just feel alone. Even though I know what I'm doing is right, there's still moments when I find myself questioning if it wouldn't be easier just to reconcile. Even though I know it's the worst possible thing I can do. What the hell do I do? What kind of support could I hope to get to find with all those people I thought as friends desert me and join the chorus of my soon-to-be ex-wife? Well, no one can blame him for questioning. Am I overreacting here, or am I being crazy or something like that? I mean, he's human, but his gut's still telling him, no, this is wrong. You got to listen to your gut, okay? That's your truth. It's telling you what really things are. If he stays with her, number one, he's caving, and it will get worse. But this is not going to stop. So he's doing the best thing, and just, again, work with his attorney and terminate the thing. And hopefully, it can go smooth for him. But I guarantee you, she doesn't like this, and it makes her look bad. And she probably never expected this either. But at the end of the day, you only live once. You got to do what's best for you and take care of yourself. Because if he just goes along with this, he's going to be miserable. And if he goes along with this after all this, it's going to show her he'll cave. And it will be even way worse. Now, the best part, we got comments. And as you can imagine, the comment section, there are a lot of people that are against him, against what he's doing. And can you guess, take a wild guess who's against it? Got a lot of women in here against it, and some that are obviously into the open relationship, open marriage lifestyle, labeling him some not very nice things. And I got a few of them here. One of them is from a woman. She says, for someone who seems to be so devoted to the sanctity of marriage, you're kind of throwing the towel in pretty damn early. You've been together for 8 years. She felt comfortable enough to tell you her fantasy, and your response was to call the lawyer. Obviously, her attempts at reconciliation is showing you that this threesome thing was simply a way to spice up your love life, and that when it comes down to you or her fantasy, she would choose you every time. Therefore, it is her who is staying faithful to the marriage vows, and you are not. Talk about a biased response. Okay, first of all, his gut told him something's up here. That, like, she's done this before. And his gut, you gotta listen to, and I agree with him. Probably she turned off that interest that she had for a long time, hoping that he was married to her, not going anywhere, and then she could lay it upon him and thinking that he'll go along with it. Okay? She's not opening this up for them. She's doing this for her, in spite of what this woman says. And it wasn't like he rushed up to the divorce attorney right away. They talked about it, and she kept reiterating how important it was to her, blah, blah, blah. So, no, lady, this is not, he's the one that wants the traditional, loving marriage. She's the one that screwed it up. So this woman here who's commenting is obviously, and by the way, I made a point to write this down. Her username, because this is Reddit, is Polly something. So I'm assuming, unless her name's Polly, and I don't think it is, because it's Poly, obviously she's into the lifestyle. So a little biased, honey. Another one says, I'm worried. I worry all your friends chose her side, OP. I know family phone calls can only do so much, but that's still something. I've noticed she didn't outright say she needed a threesome in your marriage. That's possibly why your friend group disagrees with the divorce and are so heavily against you. Most people I've met wouldn't think the conversation of S-word explorations with threesomethings would shake someone enough to separate. They think you're blowing things out of proportion. It was a simple suggestion she probably fantasized about often and felt safe enough to tell you. No, that's not what it is. I'm telling you now, it's not it. Okay? This has been obviously something that's building up. It was probably her lifestyle before, and she kept saying, I need this. Okay? It's important. Okay? If it's just a fantasy, it's just a fantasy, but she keeps doubling and tripling down. It's important. I need this. That says everything. So these people are reading this, and they are obviously biased. All right? No surprise there. Bottom line is, you're uncomfortable with the serious suggestion of bringing a third party in a relationship. You don't want a partner who wants to dabble with the possibility of others, and that's okay. That's your boundary. If she married you, she probably knows that you're firmly monogamous, including no threesomethings. Tell your friends that you're only interested in having a like-minded wife about you-know-what. You want a woman who only wants monogamy and doesn't want outside S-word relationships. Exactly. If this is not for him, this is not the lifestyle he wants, the marriage, end of story. He has every right to terminate it. Done. And last one says here, many people fantasize about threesomethings, but not everyone does it. Apparently, this was just something your wife could be satisfied just fantasizing about. Oh, this wasn't something that she couldn't just be satisfied fantasizing about. Her attitude was that it had to happen. If threesomethings are your limit, that's your right. She's probably just surprised you didn't take her up on the offer and maybe didn't realize that divorce was on the table when she raised the issue. Again, she didn't just casually raise the issue. She kept saying, this is important. I need this, that type of shit. So it isn't just a casual, oh, I was just thinking. So threesomethings are something she can't live without in the marriage, then you can't live in together. But I think I would have tried marriage counseling together before heading straight to divorce. Not because your boundary is wrong, but to try to figure out some other way of handling this. No, because marriage counseling, in my experience, they tend to favor the woman and make the guy out to be the villain, or he's making a mountain out of a molehill, right? And let's say they went back together. Well, still, she obviously wants this, so it's only a matter of time before this comes up again, okay? And now he no longer feels comfortable with her, and it's going to be in the back of his mind that she's just saying this to keep me around, but maybe she might then start cheating because if she needs this so much. So, in my view, this guy had every right to do what he does, and I wish him the best, but you gotta listen to your gut and trust it, guys. But again, yet another example. Today's world, when people hear this, they read about it online, and people are doing this and all that, and they talk to their so-called expert friends about this, and it turns into be a big freaking mess. All right, so I can't think of the word, but gone are the days. That's what I meant to say, of actual traditional old school, where just a guy and a gal, or whatever you want to call it, and it's just the two of them. Now, open relationship, open marriage, and they all end in disaster, unless both parties were into it before they actually got hitched, okay? And you'd think that these people would see these stories and realize they don't work. But, well, otherwise I wouldn't have this type of content for this channel. So, all right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Let me know, do you think this guy's overreacting, or does he have every right to terminate this business contract because, well, she's breaching the contract? And if you don't think that marriage is a business deal, you are freaking kidding yourself. And also, guys, you come across a really good story, something crazy or outrageous or something interesting you'd like me to cover here on this channel, email me, strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. Give me some time, and I'll get to it when I get a chance. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.